Have you ever wondered if you're with the right person? Here's the truth: sometimes, what feels like love is just a comfortable illusion. The butterflies, the shared laughs, even the history you've built, it can all mask a deeper truth that something's off. And let's be real, not every love story is meant to be a fairy tale. But how do you know if you're holding on to a relationship that's quietly pulling you away from your purpose? Here's the thing nobody talks about: staying with the wrong person isn't just emotionally draining, it can block the blessings God has waiting for you. Maybe you've noticed the subtle signs: a gnawing discomfort, constant setbacks, or even dreams that leave you questioning everything. These aren't coincidences. They're divine whispers trying to catch your attention, urging you to take a closer look at what you're holding on to. But don't worry, you're not alone in this. This isn't about pointing fingers or feeling guilty, it's about finding clarity and aligning your heart with God's plan. By the end of this video, you'll not only recognize the signs of an unhealthy relationship but also gain the tools to reclaim your peace and purpose. And trust me, what's waiting on the other side of this truth is worth every step of the journey. Have you ever felt an inexplicable unease in a relationship? Sometimes, it's not just a fleeting emotion but a subtle nudge from within, signaling that something isn't quite right. This discomfort often stems from a deeper place, a spiritual misalignment that begs for attention. For example, imagine being in a conversation with someone you care about, but every word feels heavy, like you're walking on eggshells. That's not how peace feels, is it? God's will often manifests as clarity and peace, yet many ignore the red flags of discomfort. You might convince yourself that this is just how relationships are, but is it really? Think about the story of Jonah. He resisted God's direction and ended up in a storm. Could your inner storm be pointing you toward a truth you're hesitant to face? To recognize this discomfort, take time to pause and reflect. Journaling can be a great tool here. Write down what you feel after spending time with the person. Are you uplifted, or do you feel drained? Patterns emerge when we're honest with ourselves. You might realize that your spirit is yearning for something more aligned with divine purpose. Another way to assess is through prayer and solitude. Sometimes, the noise of life drowns out what God is trying to tell you. A simple daily habit, like 5 minutes of quiet reflection, can make all the difference. It's in these moments that clarity emerges. Are you truly at peace, or are you trying to force harmony where there's none? This discomfort isn't meant to be ignored, it's a gift, a guidepost that redirects you toward a better path. But here's the thing: discomfort is only the beginning. It often evolves into something more evident, something we can't overlook. That's when resistance starts showing up in ways we least expect. But let's talk about that next. Life has a funny way of throwing obstacles in our path when we're heading in the wrong direction. Have you ever noticed how certain relationships seem riddled with constant setbacks? Arguments erupt out of nowhere, plans consistently fall apart, and the energy feels off. These aren't mere coincidences. They might be God's way of urging you to pause and reevaluate. Resistance often manifests in subtle yet persistent ways. For instance, maybe every time you try to deepen your connection with this person, something disrupts your plans: a canceled dinner, a misunderstanding, or even external stressors that seem to target your bond. These patterns aren't just bad luck. They could be divine roadblocks meant to redirect your attention. So, how do you interpret these signs? Start by asking yourself, is this resistance teaching me something, or is it warning me? Not every challenge is a sign to give up, but persistent disruption often points to misalignment. A helpful exercise is to write down every major conflict or setback you faced in this relationship. Do you see a pattern? If the same issues keep arising, it might be time to reassess. Even Scripture shows us how resistance can signal divine intervention. Think about the story of Balaam and the talking donkey. The donkey resisted because it saw what Balaam couldn't, a divine warning in his path. Sometimes, the resistance in your life is the donkey in the story, stubbornly trying to protect you from unseen harm. These signs aren't meant to discourage but to direct. When resistance feels overwhelming, it's worth considering that something greater is at play. And often, these challenges are accompanied by another layer of divine communication, one that speaks not just through disruptions but also through behaviors you can no longer ignore. Let's dive into that next. When we talk about red flags in relationships, we're not just discussing surface-level annoyances or petty arguments. True red flags cut deeper, they touch on respect, kindness, and moral alignment. Have you ever ignored a sarcastic jab that felt more like a knife than a joke? Or brushed off consistent lateness that signaled disregard for your time? These are not quirks, they're signs. Red flags often hide in plain sight. Disrespect, manipulation, or even subtle forms of control can erode the very foundation of a relationship. For example, if your partner's words constantly belittle your dreams or dismiss your feelings, that's a flashing neon warning. Relationships should nurture your spirit, not diminish it. Pay attention when someone's actions consistently make you question your worth. Addressing red flags takes courage, but it's essential. One way to begin is by setting clear boundaries. Boundaries aren't just about keeping others in check, they're about protecting your peace. If a partner reacts negatively to reasonable boundaries, take that as confirmation of misalignment. Remember, a loving relationship honors mutual respect and understanding. Sometimes, identifying these flags requires an outside perspective. Trusted friends or mentors can provide valuable insight. Often, they notice patterns we're too close to see. Don't be afraid to ask for their input. But even more importantly, seek divine wisdom. Pray for clarity and strength to confront what's not serving you. God often reveals the truth when we're ready to listen. Here's the thing about red flags, they're rarely isolated. They often come packaged with larger issues that impact your growth and sense of self. Recognizing them is one step, but understanding how they hinder your personal identity and divine purpose is another. And that's exactly where we're heading next. A healthy relationship should feel like sunlight on a growing plant. It nurtures, supports, and helps you flourish. But what happens when you start to feel smaller, like you're wilting instead of thriving? When a relationship stifles your growth or makes you question your purpose, it might be time to evaluate whether it aligns with God's will for your life. Sometimes, the signs are subtle. You might find yourself giving up hobbies, passions, or even friendships to maintain the relationship. For instance, maybe you stopped attending church or Bible study because your partner doesn't see the value. Or perhaps you've avoided pursuing career goals because you fear their reaction. This isn't compromise, it's self-abandonment. Reclaiming your identity begins with self-reflection. Ask yourself, who was I before this relationship, and who am I now? A practical exercise is to make a list of things you loved doing before the relationship and compare it to what you do now. If the gap is too wide, it's a clear signal to realign. God's plan for you includes growth, not stagnation. Another key aspect is courage. Walking away from something familiar can feel terrifying, but staying in a space that shrinks your potential is even scarier. Remember David facing Goliath. His courage wasn't just about defeating a giant, it was about trusting in God's bigger plan. Sometimes, stepping out of a relationship that holds you back is your David moment. But this isn't just about individual growth, it's about finding a partnership that enhances your divine purpose. Relationships rooted in shared values and mutual respect create an environment where both individuals can thrive. And speaking of shared values, there's one foundational element that ties everything together, a mutual fear of God and spiritual compatibility. Let's unpack that next. At the heart of any lasting relationship lies a shared foundation, a mutual fear of God. But let's be clear, this isn't about being perfect or overly religious. It's about two people striving toward the same spiritual goals, anchored by faith. Without this alignment, even the strongest emotional connection can falter under the weight of life's challenges. Picture this, you're building a house, but the foundation is uneven. No matter how beautiful the walls or sturdy the roof, the structure won't stand. Similarly, a relationship lacking spiritual compatibility struggles to weather storms. Have you ever tried praying together? It's one of the simplest ways to assess whether your partner values faith as much as you do. Compatibility isn't limited to church attendance, it's reflected in daily decisions. Do your values align? For example, if one partner prioritizes material success while the other seeks a life of simplicity and service, conflicts are inevitable. Spiritual harmony acts as a compass, guiding decisions and fostering mutual understanding. It's what turns a relationship into a partnership. But how do you nurture this compatibility? Start small. Read scripture together, discuss your favorite verses, or explore devotionals that resonate with both of you. Books like The 5 Love Languages or Sacred Marriage can also provide practical insights. Building spiritual intimacy requires intentional effort, but the rewards are immeasurable. And here's the beauty of shared faith: it opens the door for divine guidance. Dreams, signs, and even visions often emerge when both partners actively seek God's will. These moments of clarity can strengthen your bond or, in some cases, reveal the truth you've been avoiding. Let's explore this profound connection in the next part. Dreams have a fascinating way of speaking to us, don't they? Throughout Scripture, we see God using dreams and visions to deliver powerful messages. Joseph's dreams shaped his destiny, and Daniel's visions unveiled mysteries. Could your dreams be doing the same, offering guidance about your relationship? Sometimes, the answers we seek in prayer appear when we least expect them, in the stillness of the night. Imagine you're wrestling with doubt about your partner, and then you have a vivid dream. Perhaps it shows a future filled with peace, or one burdened by conflict. These dreams are not random. They're often God's way of revealing truths we may be reluctant to face. Have you ever woken up with a feeling so strong it felt undeniable? That's your cue to pay attention. But interpreting dreams requires discernment. Not every dream carries divine weight, and not all visions are clear at first glance. This is where prayer becomes essential. Before jumping to conclusions, seek wisdom through Scripture and trusted spiritual mentors. A helpful practice is keeping a dream journal. Write down the details as soon as you wake up and reflect on them over time. Patterns often emerge that reveal deeper truths. Divine guidance also comes in other forms: unexpected conversations, a timely sermon, or even a verse that seems to leap off the page. Don't dismiss these moments as coincidences. For example, if you're feeling uncertain and then hear a sermon about trust and redirection, it might be God nudging you toward clarity. His guidance is often layered, requiring both patience and faith to uncover. Dreams and signs can be profound tools for decision-making, but they're just one piece of the puzzle. They work alongside your intuition, your experiences, and your faith journey. Together, they paint a fuller picture of where God is leading you. And as you embrace this guidance, it's time to explore how to apply these insights to your life and take the next steps in faith. Now that you've explored the signs of an unhealthy relationship, let me ask you this: are you ready to take control of your life and align with God's plan for you? Imagine the freedom of stepping into relationships that build you up rather than tear you down, that inspire your faith instead of testing it. The choice to act is yours, and it starts today. Take a moment to reflect. What's holding you back from making the decisions you know deep down you need to make? Is it fear, doubt, or the comfort of familiarity? Change is never easy, but it's in these moments of discomfort that growth begins. What if the relationship you're clinging to is the very thing keeping you from the peace and joy God has prepared for you? If this resonates, let me challenge you to take one actionable step this week. Maybe it's journaling your feelings, seeking wise counsel, or even having that hard conversation you've been avoiding. And if you're ready to go deeper, I've created a resource just for you. My ebook, Christian Journey: Exploring the Bible in the 27 Steps, is designed to guide you in aligning your relationships, faith, and purpose. It's packed with insights and practical tools to help you navigate life's challenges with clarity and confidence. You'll find the link pinned in the comments. If this feels like the next step for you, check it out. And hey, while you're here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. This is just the beginning of the journey, and there's so much more to explore together. Thank you for spending your time here. I can't wait to see how you grow.